everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. And if you're tuning in to the recording, thank you for your interest in this exciting topic. My name is Milica. I'm from EyeSee, and I take care of our global client services. Today, we'll be diving into a fascinating case study from the collaboration between Mars and EyeSee on a very hot and trendy and relevant topic right now, and that is retail media. I'm so excited to be joined by Maciek from the Mars Global team, who works in commercial strategic insight, and Tiana from EyeSee, who is our insights director and whose team manages all Mars studies globally.
Hey everyone, welcome to our session Offsite Retail Media case, or how Mars scales creativity from dorms to desks. I'm Tiana from EyeSee, and I'm thrilled to be here with Maciek from Mars.
Hi everyone, really great to be here, and I have to say, Tiana, I really love the title. It really sums up the creative stretch we are talking about today.
I know, same here. We've got a fascinating story lined up, blending creativity, behavioral research, and commercial outcomes. So let's dive right in.
When we talk about retail media, the first thing that comes to mind is often online banners or digital screens in stores. But if we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it really starts with something as simple and as powerful as foot traffic. What we know, thanks to, for example, Placer.ai, is that retailers with national footprints are now reaching unique audiences on the same scale as major TV broadcasters. That is huge. It means that points of sale are becoming powerful media channels in their own right. So foot traffic is one of the key foundations for understanding retail media's true potential reach. And that reach is expected to translate to both sales and brand equity, and retail media delivers on that promise too. According to Kantar, for example, about 75% of brand building effects actually come from non-traditional media, from the physical environment itself and from the direct interactions people have with brands. And we've seen the same pattern in our own EyeSee studies. Even in e-com settings, the presence of retail media boosts brand perceptions, not just conversion rates. So for large established brands like Mars, that opens up a new question. How do you measure return on investment when you already have high penetration and high awareness? If retail media is significantly more expensive than traditional media, and we know it is, what exactly does it add for brands that are already household names? And there is a great recent example from a Wharton University study that looked at Coca-Cola and Pepsi, and it showed that retail media delivers strong short-term ROI, especially for big brands focused on share and efficiency. In simple terms, if your brand already has high equity, you can generate more sales at a lower marginal cost. You've already earned people's attention, and now you're using retail media to activate it in the right place and at the right time. Mars, our client, however, wanted to look beyond. When Maciek approached us, they asked a really interesting question. Could shifting the story from individual brands to the category level, for example, focusing on the occasion rather than just Mars brands, actually help drive incremental growth? And on top of that, can retail media help build the category as a whole? This is really a bold and forward-thinking approach, and it's one of the things that makes this case study so compelling. And of course, no matter how smart your strategy is, creative quality is still make or break factor. We know all attention is not equal. What we at EyeSee have shown and known for a while now with our eye tracking studies is that high quality, emotionally resonant creative drives stronger attention. And that attention translates directly into better brand recall and sales impact. It's not just about showing up. It's about showing up well, with content that fits both the brand and the retailer's environment. And that's especially true with a specific retail channel we are looking at this case study, the unattended channel, meaning micro markets and vending machines. It's such a unique space where everything we just talked about, from foot traffic to context, attention, everything plays out uniquely. It's also a great demonstration for all brands and a real inspiration to think about how creative can be tailored to fit the business objective and the retail channel itself. So, with this overview, I'll hand it over to Tiana and Maciek, who'll dive into the case study.
Retail media has been booming lately, right? But it feels like everyone's still figuring it out. Half the brands are trying to master data and targeting, but not many are talking about the creative impact.
Oh, totally. At Mars, we saw the same thing. A lot of focus on driving performance metrics, so we felt that this is the time to build up on more creative side. So one example where we took challenge was in out-of-home channel, what we here namely understand as unattended retail. We asked ourselves, can we make media not just seen, but also felt?
And that's such a powerful question because it gets to the heart of shopper engagement. We all know that creative drives attention, but can it drive measurable results?
Exactly, Tiana. And that's where, as you know, EyeSee helped us take it from intuition to insight. With real-world testing that proved creativity isn't just a nice extra. It's essential.
Before we get into the case, let's set the stage for our listeners. For years, the talk in retail media has been about data and targeting. But thought leaders like Colin Lewis and Dr. Karen Nelson Field have shown that creative quality actually drives attention and business results. It's almost like the creative side has been the missing puzzle piece. Together with Mars, we wanted to show how you can make creativity work within the data-driven retail media space. We took different creative hypotheses and put them to the test in environments where context truly matters. Why are we focusing on unattended retail, Maciek? What's in it for brands like Mars?
So shortly, this is like a Mars perspective first. So unattended retail, as we call channels like vending machines, micro markets, or even autonomous smart stores, this is a really important channel for Mars. This is not about bringing the convenience to the shoppers, but also connecting with people where they are during those everyday little moments of shopping and consuming.
Right. And that's where behavior is so context dependent. A student rushing between classes versus an office worker grabbing an afternoon snack are two very different states of mind.
Exactly. Now think about airports and train stations, etc. So he asked, if we tailor the creative to those contexts, can we actually change how people perceive and interact with the ad?
Yes, this was the key question you approached us with. And from there, we built five core research questions covering sales, attention, message clarity, and brand perception. Basically, we wanted to see whether localized really equals effective for the brand. Let's share with our audience how we designed the study. To start off, we asked ourselves five research questions. First of all, will localized messaging drive people to buy more? Does it drive better sales? Second, what's the role of the context? Does it differ for university versus an office environment? Thirdly, what's the stopping power of the CTAs and their ability to capture people's attention? Then, how clear, appealing, and understandable are the messages that are conveyed? And finally, how do they impact overall perception of the brand? Of course, this warranted a 360 approach from the start. So we had to go beyond simple ad testing. We built a fully immersive environment. Think of it as a digital vending space that mirrored real-life behavior. Together with Maciek and our design team, we simulated university and office hallways in which shoppers could stumble upon interactive vending machines and shop virtually from them. You can see here in this video how it looked. We also recruited real vending shoppers, so students for university halls and office workers for office scenarios. So, what did it look like from the consumer's perspective? We first let our office workers and students roam through the hallways where they passed by some vending machines, including our tested vending machine with the interactive display, but there were some others there as well. We measured if they stopped by the machine, whether they chose to explore it further, or if they just walked by it. We wanted to see whether this type of display had a better stopping power compared to other vending machines that were nearby. Then we measured whether students or office staff chose to buy something from the machine, and we looked at what they bought, how much they spent, how many items they bought, and so on. We also tracked their eye movements while they were looking at the CTA to see which elements catch their attention and which ones may be surplus, what are they generally attracted to in the ad itself, what isn't as important, and so on. Finally, after this fully behavioral spontaneous portion, we asked them some questions about the CTA itself. So, how much they liked it, what they liked about it, what they didn't like, if it was clear, did it speak to them, was it relevant for them, and so on. This type of setup gave us a full picture, both the emotional as well as the spontaneous behavioral side of the creative impact. So, what did we find out? The results were really strong. Localized creatives performed significantly better. They were 13% higher in relevance and 16% higher in uniqueness compared to non-localized ones. And we even saw a significant 6% uplift in purchase. That's such a good reminder that context really does drive connection.
And that's spot on. When people see something that fits their world, like an ad that speaks to the office life, when they are currently literally in the office, it just lands better. They see the brand as more relatable and modern.
And we also found that keeping it simple works best. Too many visuals can actually distract from the main message. The clearest CTAs with good visual flow won every time.
Which means relevant, relatable, and clear. Three magical words for retail media creatives.
I love how this study really connects creativity to results. It shows that when brands take creative seriously, not just as decoration, but as a growth driver, the impact is measurable. Maciek, what are your next business steps having these insights in your hands?
So for now, this is for us a real good proof point to bring back to our creative and media teams. And now we can breathe with confidence, knowing that localized content really moves the needle.
Great! Thank you for selflessly sharing these results with the world, and thanks everyone for tuning in. If you enjoyed this case study, we're happy to announce we'll be publishing a more detailed thought paper based on our work, in which you can read more details about the study. We're super excited to answer any of your questions. Thanks and stay well.